What's up, and welcome everybody to another season of the Say What You Like Top 10 NFL Power Rankings, man. Here we are picking things up here in week 2 because, well, let's face it, why even rank teams before playing a single game, right? I mean, here we are with week 1 in the books, and these books were written with a lot of miscommunication, a lot of sloppy play, and of course, you got those ridiculous overreactions from the fans. But no matter how good or how bad your favorite players or your favorite teams were in week 1, always remember that 1 week does not a season make. Not for any team or any player for that matter. I mean, unless you're Nathan Peterman or even Matthew Stafford after Monday night, but aside from that, you're probably still confident you can turn this thing around. But here we are. Let's begin with this wild ride that is the 2018 Top 10 NFL Power Rankings here on the Say What You Like Sports Podcast. Speaking of sloppy play here in week 1, at number 10, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I'm going to blame not pulling out a win against the Cleveland Browns this weekend due to, we'll say, rust and complacency, as the Steelers are known to be from time to time. They played a sloppy-ass game, and they just need to put this turnover fest behind them. But without a doubt, next week against the Chiefs, the Steelers have to clean up the mistakes on offense and prove to the league that even without Le'Veon Bell, Big Ben, AB, and Juju Smith-Schuster, who had 119 yards against the Browns this weekend, are still capable of maintaining that high-powered offense. In at number 9, another AFC North team, the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I know the Buffalo Bills are more likely only going to be competing for that number 1 overall pick in the draft this season, but still, when you hold Shady McCoy to just 22 yards on 7 carries and hold a starting quarterback, I mean, if you can even still call him that, Nathan Peterman to just 5 of 18 for 24 yards and a quarterback rating of 0.0. I mean, that's impressive. It's an impressive feat for any team on the NFL level. And who would have figured that Joe Flacco plays better when motivated to keep his damn job? I mean, he was playing lights out, threw 3 TDs and no picks. So up next, this team travels to Cincinnati for the divisional round in week 2, and they're hoping they can keep steamrolling with some of this success and try to steal the AFC North from the Pittsburgh Steelers this season. The Carolina Panthers finish at number 8 on this week's NFL Power Rankings. And no, the offense didn't play particularly well. No, Cam Newton doesn't look like he could hit the backside of a barn with some of those throws. And no, I don't see Christian McCaffrey as a starting caliber every down back going long term. But damn, can McCaffrey catch that ball out on those swing passes? Can Cam Newton keep a defense off balance with that dual threat ability of his? And damn, can Luke Kuechly and this front 7 absolutely dominate a game? You bet your ass they can. So for all the question marks this team legitimately has, it also has some MVP type legitimate answers as well. Just ask the Dallas Cowboys, who never got their running game going due to the dominance of this Carolina front. Now, I'm not really sure how to feel about this next team here. I mean, this team played a Sunday night football game against the longtime division rival. Your $134 million all-world quarterback gets carted off the field, and you find yourself down 0-20, and you're just straight getting steamrolled by Khalil Mack and the Bears. But the most dangerous quarterback in the game today, or maybe even ever for that matter, says, don't call it a comeback. And the Green Bay Packers escape with a 24-23 opening night victory. But the Pack faces an even stiffer division challenge as the Vikings and head coach Mike Zimmer, who may be the only coach to consistently be able to slow down A-Rod over the years, He's going to be bringing that vaunted defense with him, along with that shiny new quarterback on offense. I can't wait for that game, if Aaron Rodgers is up to it after the knee injury. Holding steady in at number 6, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. Now here's a team that had a lot of doubters going into week 1. And most people were seemingly on the forever disappointing and often injured Los Angeles Chargers bandwagon. I don't know. For some reason they were. But like I mentioned in the AFC West preview and predictions episode, the Chiefs straight own the AFC West. I don't even have the stat ready, but I believe their division record over the last few years is something ridiculous, like winning 17 of their last 19 divisional games. I mean, if there's any Chiefs fans out there listening, leave me a comment and give me that crazy stat, because I know I have read it a couple of times. But if you want to talk stats from this year, Pat Mahomes and Tyreek Hill started off with a bang, connecting for 3 TDs in the opener. But up next for KC is a team that may have struggled this weekend, but it's had its number the last couple of years in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Staying live at number 5, I have the Los Angeles Rams. Now, last season the Rams went from worst to first as far as offenses go, and I think we can expect to see more of the same in 2018. Jared Goff had a nice game, threw a couple of touchdown passes. Todd Gurley goes for over 100 yards. Cooper Kupp continues to make big grabs and big moments. And Brandon Cooks, man, he may not have had a big game as far as yardage goes, but he drew a couple of PIs on that Raider defensive backfield. And the Raiders, man, they came out with their hair on fire. I mean, the black hole was amped. But the LA Rams got the talent, and they survived that first half onslaught, and they stole the victory up in Oakland on Monday night. And I think we can expect to see them stealing a lot more victories this year, because Sean McVay in this offense, and to go along with the defense now with Aaron Donald, the Rams might be favored to win it all in the NFC. At number 4, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now the Jags started off the season on the right foot with the win over the New York Giants, and they used a very familiar formula comprised of ball control and defense. And it's a strategy that's worked well for this team. But I gotta voice my concern. And that's if the LSU running back Leonard Fournette, who rushed for 41 yards on 9 carries against the Giants, cannot return on time for the rematch with the New England Patriots this weekend. Now, Fournette suffered what Doug Marrone is calling a minor hamstring injury, and without Fournette, I think the Jags' chances are slim. But with a healthy Fournette, here's a contest between 2 AFC powerhouses that I'm interested in watching. In at number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, you can blame Steve Sarkisian all that you want to, and believe me, I do a lot of that. But give some credit to the Super Bowl champion defense. The Eagles D kept the Falcons to just 4 of 15 on 3rd down and limited the Atlanta offense to only 1 touchdown in 5 red zone trips. So Matty Ice, man, he melted once again against this Philly defense by finishing with just a 57.4 passer rating. So even though Foles looks shaky and Wentz isn't physically ready for game action, when you got players like Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, and Malcolm Jenkins on that defense, you gotta feel good about that defense being able to hold things down until Wentz can return. The Minnesota Vikings start the season at number 2, and I gotta admit, I like the way this talented Minnesota Vikings defense meshed with the new offense led by Kirk Cousins. And some may say the numbers are too close to pedestrian, considering that the $84 million man went up against the Niners defense that at times struggles to get pressures off the edges. But I beg to differ. A 244-yard, 2-touchdown game on 36 attempts is exactly how you want Kirk Cousins' stat line to look like. I mean, just let the running game and the defense do their jobs, and Kirk Cousins will soon realize he doesn't have to shoulder that load like he did up in Washington, because that's what often led to many of his mistakes. Up next, Cousins goes head-to-head against the hobbled King in the North, Aaron Rodgers, to vie for supremacy in the NFC North. The machine, the system, is back again at number 1 on the Say What You Like Sports Podcast Power Rankings. The New England Patriots let everyone know that rumors of their demise have been greatly exaggerated. No reason to really even worry about the running back Jeremy Hill tearing his ACL during the season opener, because I can compare these Patriots to something like a great temple, a temple that's comprised of many stones, and when one stone crumbles, it can simply just be replaced. See Dion Lewis, Brandon Cooks, and Malcolm Butler, and that great temple will remain in great form, bearing above us all, and the rest of the NFL just stays living in the shadow of that temple. So that's the way I see these Pats, man. The Pats' next matchup is an AFC Championship game rematch, but this time the Pats go on the road to take on the Jaguars.
The podcast you just heard was published with Anchor. Got something you want to say to the creator of this show? Send them a voice message using the Anchor app, free for iOS and Android.